We are reunited with our van. We were just trying to level it a little bit. It's been a while since we got to hang out with our van. Right now we're just taking a little walk to scope out the area, scope out the tide pools, and see if it's a good spot for foraging.
Look at these planes. It's also a golf course.
Yeah, it's a golf course too. What happens if a golf ball hits a plane that's about to take off?
You're not taking off. Well, this area looks awesome for a little coastal foraging. So we'll get out here during low tide and see what we can find later. Anyways, we're gonna go back and make some lunch. Jocelyn's gonna make something in the van.
Yeah. Also, the coastal foraging video will be on Outdoor Chef Life. And here she is, our little home on wheels. No major updates to it. Still the same van. The only change we've really made is the water heater. If you guys remember, several videos back, our water heater broke in this van, and for the longest time we were just heating up a pot of water and taking a shower in the shower. But a few days before flying out here, we actually ordered a new water heater and had it shipped over, and Taco went ahead and replaced that before we started this little trip.
So this is our sink. This thing is kind of messy right now. It just got some stuff in there right now. We're not using it. We just got back to the van, so we haven't been staying in the van at all yet. Kind of got to fix up the van so we can actually stay in here and have a hot water, have a shower. Got a water filter there. This is the water heater. So, and this is our fresh water tank. Fresh water comes from the front, runs over here, runs up in there, and it splits into two. One goes up straight to the filter and then gets filtered and comes out the tap up there. And there's actually power going through it too. Oh yeah, oh right, there's power. So there's some wires here that run to this guy and power. This is DC power. So I just use DC because it's so much more energy saving. Really wanted the same one. I didn't want to switch it at all because this is like the only one that I found that is 12 volt DC, and it heats up the water slower. It would take like 40 minutes or so to get the water hot, but once it's hot, you just keep it on. Whereas the AC ones, the 120 volt, you have to turn the inverter on. You never keep the inverter on in a van. Here's the new water heater, brand spanking new, same exact one. Oh, it's upside down. Oh, let's put the things on the wrong ones. Got those connectors on there. And this is the good thing about building your own van, you know. Once something goes wrong, you know how to fix it. And all I need to do is connect the electrical and then plug these guys back in that are just dangling in there, and then mount it back on the frame, and we should be good to go. All right, turn the switch on for the water heater, and we'll come back in about 40 minutes, see if we got hot water. Come on now. Come on. Oh, that's a long fart. Here we go. Here we go. It's coming. It's coming. Yes. Yes, we got hot water. Yes. Oh, that's hot. Woo! I did it. Fixed it. Yes.
And now that Taco's done with the sink, I got a little something to print and add to our fridge. Printed some of our favorite shots while we were traveling. Got some magnets. I did forget to get a magnet in Japan. I kind of wish I'd bought more magnets, but we will be in New Zealand again, so there will be plenty of opportunities to buy more magnets so I can print more stuff. Japan doesn't have one, but we'll be back. We do have plans to go back to New Zealand, and if you are considering going to New Zealand, 100% go. And if you are under 30, you can actually get a visa pretty easily to spend 1 year there to do a work or holiday visa, but it is more of like seasonal kind of work, especially if you're like going off to college, just graduated in college. If you can afford the ticket and doing a move there, 100% I recommend doing it. New Zealand has been one of the best places. If you love nature, New Zealand is amazing for that. Highly, highly recommend. Do the visa. I wish I knew about it sooner. I would have done it right after college. Got the knife master over here. Just gonna slice up some lettuce and finally dice some onions while I get the taquitos ready. I'm just heating up the tortillas so they're a little warm and don't start breaking apart as I make the tacos. Using a little potato filling. These go really well with sopa de fideo if you're looking for a full big meal. We're just having lunch.
Okay, she has made a mountain of
Unfried taquitos, and then we're gonna fry them up. They're still a little tilted, so make sure to rotate them so you're frying them on all sides. Sprinkling a little salt on them when they're still hot. We don't have any paper towels to absorb the oil, so I just put them in the pot with a little potato underneath. Oops, my tummy's grumbling. Hopefully the mic doesn't pick that up.
Tell me, it's grumbling.
I'm hungry. Top that. Fresh onion. I like onion, but not as much, so this is good for me. Top it with some lettuce, gives a little fresh crunch. I like topping my taquitos and my enchiladas with lettuce.
No, put more cotija on there.
More?
Yeah,
Alright.
might as well.
That's so bomb. I love it. Good job. Great lunch. Haven't had taquitos in a long time.
Good morning, guys. Spent the night in the van, and it is a little tilted, even though we did our best to, flatten it out as much as we could. That's kind of the reality of van life sometimes. You can't always find flat ground to park. Another little reality, sometimes our van looks a little messy. We got like an unmade bed there, books down there, clean laundry bag there, taco shorts there, camera here, mixing bowl there, bananas. Well, bananas will probably stay there. The beauty of van life is it's super quick to get the van cleaned up. Like the bed only takes like a minute. And usually we'll go ahead and push the bed up into like couch mode so that it opens up our actual couch space down there. But since we have such a big hangout space outside, we haven't actually been using our little couch in here. And forgot to mention, we're actually at a friend's place, and anytime we stay with friends, they always offer us a room, but our van is always very comfortable, so we opted to stay in here, even with the little slant. Still, it's like our personal space. We're very comfortable. Bed that we love, pillows we love. And now I just gotta put away this stuff down there. Books go into the nook, iPad just goes back into the little charging station. And now I have a pretty tidy space. The only thing left to do is laundry. And even that doesn't take that long because the van means we have a lot less clothing. So this is the size of our laundry bag that we usually do. Unless we were washing the bedding, then it might be a little bigger, but still really small. One thing when living in a van and building your van is you always have to think of where everything will go. Everything needs to have a space. Example, we didn't quite have a place for pans, so I bought this thing that goes right behind the chair. Put the pan here, have a tissue box, place for our teepee, because our bathroom is right here. Easy grabbable distance. But one thing we haven't quite figured out, Starlink. We got the Starlink after we did our van build because Starlink didn't exist yet. So we didn't account for a spot for it, so it's just always living on our couch when we're in this van. Haven't quite figured out where it should go, so it's always just getting moved around, or when we're parked up, it usually just goes outside. I did see someone mounted it on the top of their van, but their how-to kind of had them taking the Starlink apart a little bit, which it's very expensive, so I don't really want to cut it open. It's just to have it attached at the roof, and also because we do take it to New Zealand. So permanent attachment doesn't quite work right now. These are things to think about when you're planning your van build and afterwards, once your van's built and you're buying things, you always have to think of where it's going to go. So it really helps cut back on shopping for things you don't need. This is the only space we have for clothes. So it's just what fits in here. This is Taku's This is mine. I'm just so stoked to be reunited with this van. It's great. It has everything we need. I mean, it's built for us, by us, so of course I'm going to be biased and say that I love this and it's the best one.
So I just got back from a trip from San Diego. Me, Adam, and Ense went down there and we went on a tuna trip and we got some tuna. It was a really fun trip. Drove straight back from the boat to all the way up to the Bay Area from San Diego, and then Jocelyn was gonna come meet me at Adam's place in San Jose to watch me fillet and film that. And as she was on her way over, she got into an accident in the Subaru. Subaru has seen better days. How you feeling?
I'm okay. Just have some like neck pain.
A little bit of neck pain.
Well, this is not how I saw this video ending, but it's actually been a few days since the accident. The accident happened Friday. We had our event Saturday, and then Sunday we still had to do everything that we were planning to do on Friday. This is actually like the most up-to-date video we've done. Normally videos are like 1 week behind what's currently happening because it takes a lot of time to edit, but this video was actually almost done when all this stuff happened. I was actually going to wait to add it to the next video, but since Taku already posted on his social media, I've gotten a lot of questions about it, so figured I'd just put the whole story on this video instead. So I FaceTimed my dad to ask him about the Subaru, and he said from what he could see on camera, everything is definitely fixable. The question now is how much money we want to actually put into the Subaru, which we really don't want to put any money. It's a pretty old car that's just been really useful for when we're back in the Bay Area since it's much smaller than the van. But we're only planning to be in the Bay Area for like another 2 weeks. So anyways, haven't really told you guys the story. I mean, it happened really, really fast. So even for me, it's kind of hard to say exactly what happened. But I was driving on the 280 and someone tried to come into the lane that I was already in. Things just happened so fast that I don't even feel like I got to make an active decision. It was more of a reaction. It wasn't going to avoid the car merging into me, and that's when I kind of swerved. So I have a motorcycle. I haven't really driven it in a while, but from driving a motorcycle, I just have the tendency to constantly check my mirrors to see who's in the lanes around me. So I already knew that the left side was open, and so I think that's why I ended up swerving into that lane knowing it was empty, but you can't really brake and swerve at high speeds. And unfortunately, it wasn't the best reaction. I don't think it was the worst reaction either, because I think things would have been so much worse if the car and I had actually collided. Since all of the damage was just in the back, the airbags did not go off. And it was like a really weird thing of like time slowed, but at the same time it was going really fast and kind of like an out-of-body experience. It was really weird. And then after the car spun out of control, luckily I hit nobody, and it's like 3:30, almost 4 p.m. when this happened, so I got extremely lucky that I hit nobody, that I didn't go off there's like a little hillside with a bunch of trees, so I could have ended up down there. And so I mostly stayed within the lanes, avoided everybody, and then just the back of the car hit the center divider. And then I got even more lucky that the person right behind me was a firefighter from England. So he immediately came running over, asked me if I was okay, told me to stay in the car. He actually took my keys from me, and he said he was going to call 911. And maybe after like 15, 30 seconds, I like walked over to him and I was like, I'm fine. I think we need to move my car out of the way because right now it's kind of blocking traffic. And people were already yelling at me that I can't park there. Obviously, I can't park there. But my car is wrecked and I just got into an accident. So that was a nice little welcome back to America. Americans aren't exactly the nicest or most patient of people. So I got lucky that the person behind me was from England and a firefighter. So he was like trained for these things. And one of the reasons he didn't want me to move the car was, one, I was pretty shaken up. Like it just had like this adrenaline rush. And two, it's really hard to move a car that's stopped when it's a freeway. But he was also with a friend. So between the two of them, they were able to like slow traffic enough for the car to be moved to the shoulder. Normally, I would say don't do that. It is pretty unsafe. You should stay in your vehicle when you're on the freeway because someone could end up hitting you and killing you. It has happened many times before to people. But he's a trained firefighter, so I just did as I was told. And the police did come and they were able to get me off the freeway and onto the exit. But it basically ended fine. I think if the car and I had collided, things would have been a lot worse. Since we would have collided in the front, it would have set off my airbags. I'd have a broken nose, and most likely I would have lost control of the car anyways, because if your airbag deploys, you can't really do a whole lot just a few minutes before, I had been thinking, and I kind of think this every time I'm driving now here in the US, is wow, the driving here is so terrible compared to the rest of the world. Like, especially because we were in New Zealand for 6 months. New Zealand drivers are great. Some Kiwis might disagree because a lot of our Kiwi friends always gave us warnings like, be very, very careful on the road. Like, people drive crazy, but their crazy is different than our crazy. They just speed a lot in the backcountry. Here in California, especially, people will not turn their blinkers on. They will not look over their shoulder before they change lanes, which is what happened in this one. People also run red lights after they've stopped for the red light. I've seen this so many times where we're waiting at the red light and they treat it like a stop sign. They stop, no cars coming, they go. The driving here is horrible. I have never seen so many bad drivers before. I don't know why. I don't know if it's California drivers who are horrible or if it's because we have so many people from other countries and states. Anecdotal evidence, but all my coworkers and friends are not from California. And the very few coworkers I did have who were from California are usually from SoCal. You also get a lot of people who, when you do put your blinker on, people immediately close the gap and will not let you in. Road ragers, speeders, we have it all. So it was a little depressing welcome home when you have all these Americans yelling at me that I can't park there, and it's literally been 30 seconds since the accident happened. So my fellow Americans, just try to be nicer to people. It doesn't help when you're screaming at someone out your window. Everything happened so fast that I don't even feel like I got to thank them properly. But yeah, those guys were a huge help. I don't know what I would have done if nobody had stopped. Really glad that I'm fine. No broken bones, no bruises. I don't even have that much pain. I'm sure within like a day or two, the little soreness in the neck and the lower back will go away because it's honestly barely even noticeable at this point. So got really lucky. But we will see you guys in the next video and we'll keep you updated.